morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to yet another episode of FPL. Don't panic. This will be the last one before game week 14. And it's just basically going to be just finalising my team, so sort of final lineup and captaincy decisions. Another difficult one this week. There's a few good choices. What I'm going to do, I've been threatening to do this for a while, so I have actually. I used to, as most of you know, sort of scribbling on pens and papers and whatever. I've actually pumped some of the way I work into a spreadsheet, just so you've actually got a little bit of a visual, so you can understand. Now, the methodology is not perfect, and in fact, I used to work for an analyst firm, global analyst firm, for the best part of 15 years, and I suspect some of the analysts would be horrified by my methodology. But there are certain things I did learn along the way, and that's the more data you got, the more information, understanding the climate, and then actually averages as well, really key in it. You can come out with fairly accurate outcomes. And I think it would be fair to say that over the 13 game weeks we have had so far, my predictions, but if you understand, I'm trying to hit that 70-point average. That's what I aim for. And my predictions, and I think I've had 9 out of the 14 matches have been 70 points plus, and quite often where it's been on that plus has been the captaincy, which I leave out of my predictions as a sort of a fluff factor for the stuff that you can't predict will happens. So, and the time where it really did fall off the cliff, which I completely understand my error now, is that it was too many eggs in one basket. So the numbers look great, but it was basically two factors making those numbers look great for those first few game weeks. And that was namely Haaland and double Arsenal defence. And so it made the overall figures look great, but I was over-reliant on two factors. And then as soon as I changed my team, went back to more of a spread of players, producing a more even result. As I say, the results I think speak for themselves. Over the last 5 game weeks, I've risen right up into the higher echelons now. 11 million players, and I've risen from 2.5 million to 230,000, I think it is now. And that's really helped. So listen, it's not a perfect methodology, and it could easily fall off a cliff again. But it gives guidelines. It gives me something that I can actually work within and see where the problems are occurring, understand the climate going forward, and where changes need to be made before they become too much of a problem. Or indeed, where I can be patient with the problem to see if it resolves itself, because so many other factors are actually working in my favour. So listen, I'll take you through this. That was just a quick intro to what you're about to see. I think it's reasonably self-explanatory. It is not a perfect system, and I suspect many of you already work like this to a degree in your minds. This is kind of me just documenting it and sort of really working very methodological. I can't say that word, you know what I mean? Methodology. I work into a methodology. And it keeps me disciplined because I can be a bit avant-garde. That is a fly across my screen right now. Get away. New Zealand summers, folks. New Zealand summers. So listen, let's just have a look. I'll be very interested for feedback on it. Do you work like this? Is this something that you do for yourselves on paper? Did this help you at all? So think, hang on, this is actually useful. But please feel free if you find, hey, that's actually useful. Please feel free to use it. But post a comment, hit a like, subscribe. Say hello, Des. Let me know what team you're putting out yourself this week. But yeah, let's as they say, get into it. Let's see if I can get myself up in my box there. Hello. There we go. Bye bye, Des. I'm putting myself down in the little corner here, out of the way. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing is you'll see, and let me just sort of bring this up here so I can see it a bit more clearly myself. So first thing you'll see is top left. So this is my team that I'm putting out for game week 14. I have made some transfers. So at the moment, we've obviously got Henderson in goal. So Henderson's last 5 matches played have been, he has had an 8-2, 2, 7 and 2. That gives us an average of 4. I tend to round down in most cases. Yet again, just for that fudge factor, I want the predictions and things to be reasonably realistic. Then we've got Gavardio, who was chugging along nicely, but is starting to fall off the cliff, and we know that Man City have had problems. So I'm going to keep him for another game week or two, but I'll talk about my plans going forward there, because I do believe he will be leaving my team. So I've identified where the problem. This nice thing here is I can identify where the problem areas are, and where I can release some money, which will hopefully fix those things. Gabriel was one of the players that I had some patience with when Arsenal clean sheets dried up. So you can see there and they were bad before that as well. 1, 2. I mean, he was down to no returns in about 5, but I had patience because I had faith once the injuries cleared up that Arsenal would get back to their ways. So I would have, in normal circumstances, removed that player, but the other areas of the team were doing well. So it allowed me a little bit of patience, and as you can see, he's come in with a 6 and a 9 in the last 2 game weeks, and they have some fantastic fixtures going ahead. I am very tempted by bringing in another Arsenal defender in the next phase of fixing where I can see some issues developing that I think will improve my scores. Konza is coming in because he's got a favourable fixture this week. Now, I haven't filled out the fixture ticker in this spreadsheet, but that should give you an idea. My basis of it is green. This is a really, really good fixture. Black, no chance of a return, and there's no surprise to see a lot of black there beside Henderson. And blue is, there's a half chance of return with Palmer down there. I mean, Palmer can return in any fixture. You'll very rarely see a black, but he's got a sea of green in front of him, for instance, in his next 5, and just one blue in there, which is I think Tottenham away, which is blue. I mean, that is in theory a difficult fixture, but that's Palmer, Tottenham's defence. That's a good fixture. So by the time I show this again, when I do say maybe the game week 15 team, I'll try and have that fixture ticker fully filled out. But back to the so Konza, as you can see, he would normally sit on my bench, but based on fixtures, really decent fixture, he'll probably be coming in for this one, I think. My other choices are Aït-Nouri and Hall. But I think I'm going to go with Konza in this case. Salah speaks for himself. Average of 2, 13, 18, 13. So I don't need to go through all of that for you, but that's it. So I get the last 5 fixtures played in there. And just to sort, when I say 5 fixtures played, I think those are in most cases they're the last 5 fixtures played, and they probably were the last 5 game weeks. But an example there where I have on my bench Ahmad, who I brought in this week for just 4.9 million because he's going to be an enabler releasing funds that I'll be able to use, well, already have indeed used in other areas, like to bring in Jackson. If you see his numbers there, 4.9 million. His last 5 matches played 6-3, 6-8, 11. Told you a week or 2 ago that he was on my watch list, and seriously, last couple of games he's played has been fantastic. He didn't get a fair chance, in my opinion, under Ten Hag, and he was returning in most games he played under Ten Hag. So the 6 and the 3 are in the Ten Hag area, I think. Actually, the 6-3-6 are in the Ten Hag era. 8 and 11, and also I think he scored in one of the European matches as well. An average of 7 points for 4.9 million. He may not be remaining on my belt if he ends up in a surefire starter under the new United manager, and he is already singing his praises. He is looking outstanding. So that's just to show you that it won't necessarily be the 5 matches played, in the last 5 game weeks where there's like a bit of a break. I want to see what their form is in general, and obviously Ahmad wasn't playing a few weeks ago. Anyway, back to the point in hand. So listen, so that's the lineup that you see there in front of you. I've got a Henderson, Gavardio, Gabriel, Konza, Salah, Palmer, Saka, Bruno, Jackson, Cunha, and João Pedro. In the columns B, C, D, E, and F, that would be the points that they would have achieved if they had actually been playing those matches at the same time, overlaid on each other, and they had gone out as a team. So as you can see, I think most of us as FPL managers will be very, very happy with that. And that number excludes captaincy. There's only one outlier there, which is the 47. And I think if you all cast your minds back, that was a pretty bad game week all round for most managers. But that score would have beaten most. And it doesn't include captaincy if you came in with a good captain. But as you can see, captaincy pick that week. Salah wouldn't have done much for you anyways. There would have been a 2. It probably would have been my captaincy pick or a Palmer. And as we know, Even if you had Haaland in your team, he did not. He's been doing nothing for 5 weeks. But 47 would have still been quite a respectable score that week. Certainly better than what I actually achieved with full captaincy, etc. So then there's two numbers. Then I look at from there. There is my there's the average of that team. So that team's average, adding up the 71, 47, 71, 91, 76 gives us 71. Again, obviously excluding captaincy, and the median is 47 to 91, and it's the median that I tend to use the lower number as my prediction. So yeah, there's an average there of 71, the 47 to 91, the median is 69, so I take 69 as my prediction. Now, if I'm being honest, all these players are on away fixtures. Now, a lot of them are decent away fixtures, like Jackson is Southampton away, as is Palmer, against a very, very weakened Southampton side that are stuck to the bottom of the table, with a bunch of injuries to key players. So it may not matter, but there are a lot of away fixtures in there this week. But looking at them, look at the form of the likes of Salah, Palmer, Saka. I'd be hopeful that's a realistic prediction. And as I say, if you look back over previous videos, and I know a number of you have been following me for a while now, tend to be reasonably accurate, apart from the fall off the cliff, where those numbers were made silly by having Haaland, who was coming in with a hat-trick every week, and also Arsenal defence that was doing very well at the time and bringing in decent numbers, but the other areas of the team weren't. So it created a false economy, so to speak. Yeah, the numbers look good, but as you can see here, this is really, really spread out. You've got your Cunhas and your Pedros contributing at times. You've got other times, obviously, the premiums and the Salahs and the Palmers. It creates a more even spread of data, and the more data that you've got, and this is why I think my predictions are getting better and better as it's going on, and why things have gone so really, really amazing, incredibly well for me the last 5 weeks, is why it's actually working. So those are my bench players. So getting to where I'm going to look to make some improvements, I'm generally very, very happy with this team. And I think what most of you engaged managers out there will have noted, that there is a template developing. Everyone now at this point, I was just really lucky that I got ahead of the curve on it a wee bit, particularly with Saka in particular, I think, who some managers are still struggling to bring him in because of his price point. But everyone has got Salah, Palmer, Saka. Then the fourth midfielder, playing midfielder, is tending to be someone like a Johnson, a Bruno, or something like that. I've got Bruno. I'm still not sure about that, even though I was the one touting him a few weeks ago. I still got just a few reservations there, but I did say he was going to start averaging 10 a few weeks ago, and he is nearly there. I mean, an average of 8. Any of us would take an average of 8 per week out of pretty much any player, even a premium. If they're averaging 8, it's still good. But I've sort of got an eye on that, but I'm okay with that for now, and I can actually maybe do a little rotation or do something. There's a couple of tricky fixtures coming up, but they clear up for United after that, and I think the team's strong enough that I can just have a little bit of patience and see how that rides out. Where I will be putting my focus on, it's pretty apparent here, is that defence. I'm going to roll, so I've made my 2 transfers this week, and I think that has sorted out a couple of areas of concern by bringing in Jackson, releasing some money off that bench. I do realise my bench was too strong. I mean, I was going on about, what a strong bench, but I actually had too much money on it, really, and it needed to go into the team. I feel this is better balanced now. Still a very good bench. I'm really happy having Ahmad as a first sub to come off for attacking, and I've obviously got 2 reasonably strong ones there in Aït-Nouri and Hall, who are just 4.4 million, but as you can see from the numbers, not brilliant, but they are capable of a return in the right fixtures if I do want to do any rotations. So what is going to happen, I'm going to probably roll for 2 weeks. Gavardio is going to go, and I am either going to, because I do have the money, if I do use 2 transfers, I can release a little bit from somewhere else. I did say I wanted to bring in another premium. That premium may be Trent, and I leave it at that, and then I just rotate my other defenders. I think I might still have a little bit of money left to change my goalkeeper situation, which I haven't been happy with pretty much from the start of the season. But I'll take a look at the goalkeeper situation. But basically, it's going to be some doctoring in defence. So it could be bringing in Trent. That's probably going to eat up most of the money. But I'll probably have just a couple of bucks left to sort out a little, just change Henderson to someone, anyone. I just don't want to keep saying his name every week. If I don't go Trent, I think maybe the more sensible option will be to bring in Raya for goalkeeper, and just have a set and forget. It is more expensive, but doing that will allow me to potentially bring in another Liverpool defender. I'm really comfortable with that idea of having a double Liverpool and a double Arsenal. They are going to keep the most clean sheets. Maybe apart from maybe Forest, when Forest's fixtures get better, they've turned. I really do regret not bringing Aina in a lot sooner, but it is what it is. This is really important, I think, to do this at the moment. As I said, teams are starting to get a little bit samey now. A template is developing. You know, everyone has pretty much got Pedro and Cunha now. Everyone's going to have Salah, Palmer, Saka. Most people have Gabriel in defence. We're going to be finding that, you know, even if it's like a 40-point week, you're not going to drop too far, you're not going to rise too far. You could have, do you know, there was someone this week just gone, they had 66 points. They actually got a small red arrow. That's and they're in the just inside the top million somewhere. You know, that's kind of where it's got to now. You know, you're going to have a bad week. You might rise a little bit, you might fall. We need to find a different kind of differentiator. And I think looking at my team, the area that it can be done, and this is the area that I think can be tweaked and made a bit stronger and maybe just give me a little bit of an edge, is to go double Arsenal, double Liverpool. Or, as I say, bring in that extra premium. Nearly everyone has 3 premiums at the moment. Not too many have 4. I've been quite lucky. It was part of my strategy to transfer carefully and skip, even though it cost me points sometimes, and sometimes the odd hit was get rid of players sometimes when their price was rising. Sometimes, to be honest with you, maybe bringing in a player or two that I wasn't sure about just to catch a price rise. That has helped me because I'm got a reasonably healthy bank. It's not the best. It's about 104.5 now. And that does to every dollar really makes a difference. So that's where I'm at. That's the team. Just glad to just sort of show you this, get it off my usual scribblings and dribblings on paper, just to show you. I will update the fixture ticker so you can kind of see how that works. But I think most of you have got fixture tickers in some way, shape, or form. So I'm sure you can understand exactly what I'm talking about there. And the way I do it there, laid out against the team, it gives a nice overlay where I can actually see, particularly with the bench, where there's potentially good rotations, which is nice. You can, when you're sort of laying up, particularly when you're doing a wild card, or you have 3, 4, 5 transfers up to your sleeve, and you sort of pump it all in. You can sort of just, it's all nicely overlaid, and you can see, yeah, he can fill in there when that's looking bad. When he's got a black there, oh, but look on my bench, there's a nice green. It gives you an idea. And as you know, I tend to work in 5-match blocks. So this works well for me. It is not perfect. I might show this to my ex-boss, actually. She will probably castigate me. But hey, I wasn't an analyst, but I worked with some great people, and I did learn 1 or 2 things. This is kind of my little Desi analyst thing, and it certainly helped me. The main thing it's doing is help me keep on track. And as I say, the results so far, I think, are speaking for themselves, and I can actually see where I made mistakes, as I say, with the whole pumping Haaland in there with his 30, 40, 50 points, which was completely, obviously, unbalancing the whole thing. And as soon as I got off of that bump, we've gone flying up the charts again. Okay, that was it. A little bit waffly. Hopefully, a picture tells 1,000 words, and you got some benefit and use from that. It'll be deadline, I'm estimating, about 15, 16 hours in the UK, so don't forget to get your final teams locked in. This is me. I am currently going with a power captaincy. Hopefully he's got his mojo back after his 14-pointer in his last match. Again, a player that I stayed patient with, even though he was like hitting those three blanks, I think it was. Yeah, they're there for 3 blanks in a row, which is a lot of blanks for a player that's costing 10.5 million. But I stayed patient. I got my reward. Bring me in a big captaincy, Palmer. This is your time. This is your time. In the meantime, folks, have a fantastic game week. Play your own game, and don't panic. Take care. Bye-bye.